Last time, I'd finally found level 2, made a stop in level 8 to find the magic book, and completed level 6. Level 6 had also given me a new lead to follow. There are secrets where fairies don't live. I thought I knew just what to do with this piece of information. Once back on the overworld, I headed straight for the empty fairy fountain in the northern part of the burnt woods. I'm pretty sure I'd done all of this before, but I tried burning the trees with the candle, bombing the water and edges of the screen. Found nothing. I thought, what else could I interact with? And I thought of the flute. I blew the flute, and the water in the pond drained, revealing a staircase. This took me to level 7. While level 8 remained unfinished, I'd now found all the dungeons. I took a moment to take that in. After level 6, I was a little nervous what I'd find here, but I moved pretty swiftly through a good number of rooms. There were a couple of mini-boss type enemies, but they were the easier varieties, even if these wouldn't be the last of these types I'd run up against in this area. The main strong enemy here seemed to be the blue boomerang-throwing gorillas. They definitely did some damage, and it was hard to track all the boomerangs flying around when there were a lot of them, but it still felt more manageable than the Wizrobes. I found a couple of keys in the early rooms, and then a clue. There's a secret in the tip of the nose. I didn't have an answer for this one immediately, and pushed on to find a couple more interesting things. The first was another bomb upgrade, just beyond a room with more Dodongos, who I decided weren't worth killing since it wasn't necessary to progress. The upgrade was 100 rubies, which was easy given I hadn't been spending much for a while. Somewhere around this time I'd also realized there was a limit on the number of rubies I could carry, 255, so I actually wanted to spend some money to drain these. This upgrade brought my total to 16 carryable bombs, which was super nice. The second thing I came across was a gorilla that blocked my path, but didn't attack. It also appeared hungry. I thought of the meat or bait item I'd seen purchasable in a shop a while ago. That item hadn't had a use yet, so I thought for sure it'd be worth a try. I headed back outside, checked my notes, and realized I couldn't remember where I'd seen it. It took me a little aimless wandering for me to remember it was actually the secret shop with the blue ring. I remembered exactly where that was, so headed straight there, grabbed it for a modest 60 rubies, noted that it took up the last unused spot in my inventory, and headed back. I was worried it might be possible to consume the item here by putting it in the wrong place or not doing quite the right thing with it. I hope that's not the case, but I walked right up to the gorilla and used the item right in front of him. It worked like a charm, and I was able to continue on into the final section of the dungeon that was otherwise inaccessible. This led me to the item room that revealed the red candle. Not a new item, but an upgrade that seemed to let me use the candle endlessly on each room. The manual mentioned something about lighting multiple rooms, but that didn't seem to be the case. I still had to use it once in each dark room, but I could use it many times as a form of attack, or for searching for secret passages more easily on each screen. The map was also in one of the rooms here, and it became clear that this dungeon was shaped like a face, with a clear eye and nose indicated. Remembering the earlier clue, I headed for the nose to give it a search. There's one secret door to reveal with a bomb to reach it, but the map makes it pretty clear where. The room itself had a bunch of blocks, so I went around trying to push them in each direction, when suddenly these blue hand enemies started appearing through the walls. Coupled with the shock orbs that disable your attack, I unfortunately got grabbed and couldn't attack to free myself. This threw me all the way back to the entrance of the dungeon. This was mostly a minor annoyance, given it wasn't hard to get back to the nose, but something to be mindful of. I was more careful the second time, and found that killing maybe 5 of the blue hands stopped them from respawning, and I could search in peace. I finally found a block on the middle right side of the room that pushed inward. This staircase, which was revealed, took me to the final rooms in the middle of the dungeon I'd been trying to reach, and the boss. Here I faced the green dragon again. Not the multi-headed dragon, but the one from level 1. The manual calls Aqua Mentis. There was room to maneuver here, so dodging fireballs wasn't too hard. It seemed a good opportunity to give the magic wand a try to see if I could strike from distance. It worked. So this fight ended up over pretty quickly, chucking fire at the narrow gap he was blocking on the far side of the room. This seems like a pretty good reason to go pick up the magic book from level 8 before coming here, but the regular magic wand may work just as well. In fact, a commenter on the last video was mentioning they prefer the regular magic wand to the magic book upgrade. Given how things panned out for me, I never got to try the wand without the book, unfortunately. That was it though. Only a single dungeon to go. Keen-eyed viewers will note that upon finishing level 7, I got my 11th heart container. As I mentioned last episode, I actually left level 6 right after I received the clue about the empty fairy fountain. I entered, and since it went pretty smoothly, finished level 7 at this time before I completed level 6. So it was at this point that I went back to finish off the Goma and get my 12th heart container there. It was time to stop by the graveyard again, and this time, finally, with 12 hearts, I was able to grab the final sword. I was pretty sure this would be a big help against all those blue knights in level 8. Level 8 generally proved more of a challenge than level 7, I think, and the only level that I thought really came close to level 6 as far as difficulty overall. I already explored the first maybe third of the dungeon, but pushing forward, I didn't really get very held up anywhere. There were some tougher rooms, and some Goma mini-bosses that proved a lot harder than the previous boss, requiring multiple arrow shots to kill. But I had enough bombs, I was able to use some offensively against groups of knights, and check most suspicious walls for secret doors. After wandering around a bit and just picking a direction to go whenever I had a choice, I found one such secret door leading to the north that went straight into the boss's chamber. Faced with another familiar multi-headed green dragon, this time with 4 heads, I immediately went for the same tactic that had worked before, given I had more health than previously, a stronger sword, and even less of a chance of dodging all the damage coming my way from that many heads. The magical sword did its work, taking out each head in just a couple of swipes, so the overall fight didn't last long. I completed the Triforce, and nothing much really happened. I just returned to the overworld without much of a clear indication what to do next. I'd come across one clue in level 8. The 10th enemy has the bomb. I wasn't quite sure what that meant at all, but it didn't seem a great deal of help. Since I'd kind of just forged ahead and ended up at the boss, there were rooms in the dungeon I had not fully explored. The next natural thing seemed to be to go back and explore them. Doing this, I came across the map, which again seemed located pretty deep into the dungeon. Beyond that, there was another item room, I think the only dungeon to have 2. This room contained the magic key, which looks to be persistent, maybe opening any door. Cool, but also not a whole lot of help right at the moment. The most important detail that I'd missed was another clue. The clue read, "Spectacle Rock is an entrance to death." Ominous, but I had no idea what Spectacle Rock was. It made me think of the mountain area, but I didn't think I'd heard the name anywhere else in the game so far. With nothing else to do, I headed out and up into the mountains to see if I'd missed anything, but came up empty. Even that weird screen with rock arrows pointing to a group of 5 trees didn't offer up anything new. After a while, I was out of ideas and had little to go on. I decided to check the manual. There were quite a few details I'd chosen not to read previously, but now that I was stuck, I gave it a shot. Tucked away toward the very end in a list of things that Impa, the old woman only really described in the manual, imparts to Link at the beginning of his adventure, was the one and only relevant clue I could find. The 2 huge rocks high on Death Mountain are known by the people as Spectacle Rock. Okay, well that was certainly helpful, but also not exactly a precise location. Still, I felt confident knowing what I was looking for, I'd be able to find it, given there aren't too many screens up in the mountains. Right next to this clue in the manual was also a reference to level 9, Death Mountain, and the red ring that provides even more defense. I wasn't done yet, and frankly, that was a really nice feeling. Next time, I'll have to see if I can track down this entrance to death, and maybe, just maybe, see if I can finish this quest. Thank you so much for watching, as always, and until next time, when I hope to have the end of this tale written, take care.